Welcome to part 2 of Descriptive Statistics and Visualizations. In this session, we transition from single variable descriptions to bivariate analysis, investigating relationships between variables. We will establish how independent variables such as stress or gender influence dependent variables like depression. Understanding levels of measurement is essential as the data type dictates the appropriate statistical tools and visualization techniques available. By the end of this module, you will understand how to construct and interpret box plots, cross-tabulations, scatter plots, variance, and standard deviations. This foundation will prepare you for advanced inferential statistics later in the semester. Let's dive into our systematic investigation of quantitative data structures and relationships. Before attempting any bivariate analysis, we must identify our variables' levels of measurement because they dictate permissible statistical procedures. Nominal variables classify data into unordered categories like gender or state of residence. Ordinal variables add ordering, such as class standing or Likert agreement scales, though distances between options are not equal. Finally, scale variables, combining interval and ratio levels, measure numerical quantities with equal intervals and meaningful mathematical properties such as age or depression scores. Misidentifying measurement levels leads to invalid statistical tests. Knowing whether a variable is nominal, ordinal, or scale ensures we choose accurate summary statistics and effective charts throughout our research projects. This table serves as a quick reference guide for categorizing variables and selecting appropriate analytical methods. Notice how nominal and ordinal data cannot generally be averaged because their numerical codes represent categories rather than precise quantities. Consequently, bar charts are the primary visualization tool for categorical variables. Conversely, scale variables represent continuous numerical measurements where calculating means and standard deviations is statistically valid. For scale data, histograms, box plots, and scatter plots are the gold standard for visual inspection. Memorizing these relationships will streamline your workflow in statistical software like SPSS and Excel, preventing errors such as calculating the mean gender or graphing continuous scores incorrectly. When comparing distributions between groups, box and whisker plots provide a clear summary of central tendency and dispersion. The bold horizontal line inside the box marks the median, representing the 50th percentile. The box itself encompasses the middle 50% of observations, known as the interquartile range. The extending whiskers indicate the overall data spread, while individual points beyond the whiskers flag potential outliers. In our example comparing depression scores by gender, box plots allow us to visually evaluate whether distributions differ in median, spread, or extreme values. While visual inspection suggests similarity between men and women, inferential tests like t-tests will confirm whether observed differences are statistically significant. Cross-tabulation, or crosstabs, examines conditional relationships between two categorical or ordinal variables. In this table, we analyze gender against responses to the statement, "During the past week, I felt depressed." When evaluating crosstabs, always compare column percentages rather than raw counts to account for differing group sample sizes. Looking closely at the extreme category, 2.8% of men versus 2.5% of women reported often feeling depressed. However, combining often and sometimes reveals that 17.5% of women reported frequent depression compared to 12.4% of men. This nuance demonstrates why examining multiple response levels is critical before drawing definitive conclusions about group differences in social science research. Again, we should ask the question, they are different, but is that difference significant? The short answer is that we don't know. We need more advanced statistics to answer that question. Scatter plots represent the ideal visualization tool when examining the relationship between two continuous scale variables. By convention, the independent variable or suspected cause, here the student stress scale, is placed on the horizontal x-axis, while the dependent variable, depression, occupies the vertical y-axis. Each dot represents a single student's combined scores. The general upward trend from left to right indicates a positive relationship. Higher stress levels tend to co-occur with higher depression scores. Notice that data points do not fall on a single straight line. Variation exists because stress is only one of many factors influencing depression. The actual graph on the bottom represents a positive correlation between stress and depression, although it is less clear than the examples used as models above it. Evaluating a scatter plot effectively requires systematically analyzing four distinct visual features. First, check the direction. Does the pattern move upward, representing a positive association, downward indicating a negative relationship, or remain flat? Second, evaluate the strength. Tightly clustered points signify a strong relationship, whereas widely scattered dots reflect weaker association. Third, identify the form. Determine whether the overall shape follows a straight line or exhibits curvature. Fourth, inspect for outliers, single observations falling far outside the primary cloud of data points. Mastering these four criteria equips you to articulate complex quantitative relationships clearly and spot potential data anomalies during preliminary exploratory analysis. Beyond measures of central tendency like the mean, fully describing a distribution requires evaluating variability. Variance quantifies how far individual data points deviate from the group mean. Because calculating variance involves squaring individual deviations to eliminate negative signs, variance is expressed in squared units, making direct interpretation unintuitive. Taking the square root of the variance yields the standard deviation. Standard deviation is one of the most vital metrics in statistics because it measures the typical or average distance that scores fall from the mean in the original units of measurement. Small standard deviations indicate tightly clustered data, whereas large values signal substantial heterogeneity across observations. Let's examine how statistical software output presents standard deviation across different analytical platforms. For our student stress scale across 2,755 students, the total score mean is 11.34, with a standard deviation of 2.43. Rescaling to the original 1 to 3 response format yields a mean of 1.62 and a standard deviation of 0.35%. Standard deviation tells us that a typical student's stress score deviates by about 0.35 points from the average response. Applying the empirical rule for normal distributions, approximately 68% of students fall within one standard deviation of the mean, between 1.27 and 1.97 on the 1 to 3 scale, and 95% fall within two standard deviations. In conclusion, mastering descriptive statistics and data visualizations provides the mandatory toolkit for meaningful empirical research. Always begin by classifying your variables into nominal, ordinal, or scale levels of measurement. Use box plots and cross tabulations to evaluate categorical group differences, and leverage scatter plots to uncover continuous relationships while assessing direction, strength, form, and potential outliers. Finally, pair measures of central tendency with standard deviation to capture both the center and spread of your data accurately. As we transition toward inferential statistics in upcoming chapters, these descriptive foundations will allow us to evaluate whether observed sample patterns reflect true population relationships.